Okay, so we pressed this, we pressed everything this way. We still have our little flange coming up. And I went back from the other side and pressed everything out. So I know this is all nice and flat. Looks really pretty. But we still have to trim things off. You'll notice on this one side, everything is nice and even. But on this side, everything is uneven. So I'm going to fold this, line it all up here, nice and straight. And I can even fold it a second time here, make it a little easier for me to work with. So all the seam allowances on this side are lined up so I know it's straight. So I'm just going to take my ruler and cut off all this excess. I do have a little bit of selvage in here. I'm not going to worry about cutting that completely off because that will be enclosed in our French seam. So this is a little bit of extra. Okay, so that side is all straight. Close my cutter. And I'll do the same to cut off a little bit of this selvage on this side. I just want to pare it down a little bit. But our French seam does take up quite a bit of the fabric width. So I don't want to cut off any more than I need to. So I'm cutting off about half the selvage, the really thick part of it, and leaving some of the whites there. That's fine. That will be enclosed in the seam. So now we have something that is nice and even. And we're going to do a French seam, which is kind of counterintuitive. We're going to sew this with the right sides up. Wrong sides facing, right sides up. And I'm not going to bother lining it up from the corner. If we haven't cut this straight, that's where our spear can go. We want to line up the edge of the cuff. Make sure that looks good. Okay, I'm going to get my pin going this way. It'll be a little easier to sew. This is pretty thick right here. So I'm going to actually put the pin going under the seam allowance and up. So under and up, and this way it will sit flat. If you try to go down through the middle of it, it won't. Just for the rest of this, a few pins, and if there's any distortion, it will get pushed down to this top end where it will get hidden in the seam allowance. Okay, and here we're going to turn the corner and come down here. You'll notice that I'm putting the pins in a little bit. This is out of the line of fire of my presser foot, so I don't need to take them out till I'm finished. There we go. 1/4 inch seam. The fabric's pretty thick here, so I'm going to start in a little bit and back up to the outside. Nope, I want you to back up. There we go. And now we're going to come forward. If you start right on the very edge, sometimes the thread wants to jam up on you. Slower to the thick part. Okay. And that's off to the races. Okay, so we pull out all of these pins and turn everything inside out. I'm going to reach into the corner, I'm going to push that corner in, and same, oh, we got to clip this guy, don't we? that corner, cut the triangle off there, and I didn't do that to this end, did I? I'll have to sit in the corner for a while for that. Just a whisker off of this one. Push that corner in, push that corner in, and then just grab the two corners and pull the whole thing inside out. Okay, so it's completely unfolded. Just flatten that out a little bit, finger press it, and now you can just pull it up. You don't really have to iron this at this point. Again, my pin is going a little farther in. There we go. And here's this, and then we'll do the same on the side. Unfold it a little bit and just finger press the seam in any direction. Just flatten it right out. You can't really get these things on the ironing board easily, and if you use an iron, you're going to press a crease into the body of the pillowcase. So this works really well. At home I have a roller, one of those paper piecing rollers that were from like rolling wallpaper rollers, and those are really handy for things like this because you just roll it back and forth. It's only about 1.5 inches wide. Okay, and I'm going to put one more here and make sure this is folded neatly. And remember the pin, when you've got a thick spot, you want to go underneath the thick spot and back up to the other side. See, it still lays nice and flat. And this edge, again, I'm making sure it's even, and put a pin in here. Now this time, we've sewed a 1/4 inch seam. Now we want to make sure that it's enclosed in this. So our seam allowance needs to be 3/8 of an inch at a minimum. Sometimes it might have a 1/2 inch mark on your sewing machine that's easier for you to see, but no more than a 1/2 inch. I'm going to go for my 3/8, which I can see marked right here. It's sort of right beyond the feed dogs on my machine. Okay, so I'm going to start by going backwards because I have a lot of thickness, and now forwards. And there's my 3/8 inch line. It's right there. I'm a little slow through this heavy spot because I want to make sure I don't want to break my needle. Okay, and now off to the races again. Well, I could have done one more stitch, but there we go. My thread on this end. You are not going to clip the corners on this time. Leave the corners where they are. It was only for the first step. Okay, so push the corner all the way in. Push the corner all the way in again. And now I'm just going to grab the two corners and turn it right side out. And you can press it and it's done. We have a beautiful French seam. That's how it finishes on the inside. So the raw edge is enclosed inside this seam. So we took a 1/4 inch seam and a 3/8 inch seam. And everything looks so pretty. Whoop, ooh, fuzzy, we can't have that. Reject. And this seam is all nice all the way up and around the corner. So this is just a matter of pressing it, and it's done. Easy as pie.